Okay, well, thank you everybody for coming. I'm Michal Freedman, and I'm co-leading Team Pennsylvania with Michelle Hainback, who is not here tonight because she's out of the country. And we invited everyone to come who wants to elect Democrats in Pennsylvania with 31st Street. We are working, as you probably all know, there are many races in Pennsylvania that matter. There's the presidential race. There's the race for the US Senate. There is a race for a congressional seat just north of DC, the Harrisburg, York area, where we're helping Janelle Stelson against a very right-wing extremist who's currently in Congress. We're working to help her defeat him. And then there are seats for the State House and Senate. And I think it's fair to say you can't exaggerate how important Pennsylvania is in this election. Many of you have been involved in our activities, and you know how you have to, as you heard, if you were in the participating in the monthly meeting, this is a voter by voter, step by step, increasing the support for Democrats. It's very labor intensive, but it also, after each session, you can see some benefit you've made. So what we want to do is we want people to leave here knowing the range of outreach activities that 31st Street is supporting in Pennsylvania. We have sort of different flavors of canvassing and phoning, and we'll have a number of presentations. We'll be brief. Each speaker will only talk for 3 minutes, with one exception, and I'm not going to say who she is. She gets 4 minutes. And each speaker will introduce the next speaker. We should have time at the end for about 5 to 10 minutes of questions. So please put your questions in the chat, and at the end, Aaron will again orchestrate the question and answer period. And if we don't get to some of them, I'd ask the speakers to put their email addresses in the chat so you can follow up with them. And also there will be an outreach, as there has been, an outreach newsletter every week, which Joanne Harris and George Hastings sent out to outline the activities for the coming week. So in the next 30 minutes, you should have a very good overview of what the options are. And we're going to begin with Joanne Harris, who together with George Hastings is coordinating the general canvassing every Saturday for 31st Street. So Joanne, do you want to just give us a brief overview of what we're doing and then introduce the next person? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Michal. I guess the message I'd like to get across to everybody is that there are no downsides to canvassing. And probably a lot of you know this already, but you're outside, you're getting fresh air and exercise, you're interacting with a wide variety of friendly and interesting people, and you're helping them. You're giving them information they didn't have, you're answering their questions. And for the most part, they end up grateful that you stop by, and you end up feeling gratified because you helped somebody. So what makes it even better is that 31st Street is here. We're leading canvasses every Saturday in Pennsylvania, and we're doing what we can to make it as easy as we can for you. So each canvas has a canvas captain who, excuse me, who is available to you, gives you all the information you need leading up to the canvas. If you would like a canvassing buddy, the canvas captain will make that arrangement. If you would like carpool arrangements, if you need a ride, the Canvas captain will help with that as well. Each Thursday prior to a canvas, we hold a Zoom briefing, and it's a chance for you to come and to learn more about the candidates, to learn key talking points and issues, and to just ask any questions that you have before going out on the canvas. If you are new to canvassing, we don't want you to feel any trepidation or have any worries. We have a frequently asked questions list that we can share with you that I think covers the basics and really makes you feel confident before you head out there. Let me see, we are rolling out our weekly canvases on a week-to-week basis. So for instance, if you were to sign up right now, you could sign up for the September 28th canvas, which will be in Hanover. We've been to Harrisburg, we've been to York, but it's important to us to keep our options open week to week so that we have a good idea of where we're most needed and where we know we'll get good walk lists. So if you stay in tune with Lisa's newsletter and with the outreach newsletter that George and I send out on Sunday evenings, they will always have the links in there that you need to connect to our canvases. And of course, we'll share our email addresses in the chat. So you'll be able to reach out to us. You'll be able to reach out to the canvas captains. And hopefully you'll join us. If you're seasoned, you'll join us. If you're new to it, you'll join us and you'll find out how wonderful it really is. So that is my 3 minutes. Thank you.
Great. Great. And Jim will be addressing Ken and voter registration, right?
Right. So let me just say, part of my job is to try to find those opportunities where we'll have the most impact. And we're doing that to try to, Harris is our highest priority for Pennsylvania. Stelson is a secondary priority. So that's and also having good walk lists that will be productive is how we do that. In addition to regular canvassing, we are doing voter registration, and which is hard. So it's a ground game. It's so a lot of that is what Michael does, is finds opportunities at events, at colleges and so forth, where we register voters. And I will tell you at this point, it doesn't sound like a very big number, but we have registered about 250 voters in Pennsylvania this year, which actually is a fairly significant number, but it gives you, this is after weeks and weeks of work doing that. So part of that is what we call knock every door canvassing, where we have people that are really quite good and experienced canvassers who can do both. We find areas, apartment complexes that are highly where the people tend to be highly supportive of Democrats and tend to move somewhat often. And we actually do that. We get a walk list of all the voters, and the doors that don't have a voter, we're talking to them about voter registration. And sometimes there is a voter, we talk to them about voting. And when go to the doors that have voters, we talk to them sort of in the regular way about why it's important to vote, their plan to vote, persuasion. And it turns out that there's a lot of productive persuasion. What Diane was talking about yesterday, that was on one of our knock every door canvases. And it actually is pretty effective at persuasion as well. So I think that's about 3 minutes, and I'm going to stop, and maybe I can just turn it right over to Melanie. How's that?
I think it's Julie that's.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Julie, my fault.
Yeah, so the canvassing that we've been doing to date in Pennsylvania has been on Saturdays. Occasionally Jim has organized voter registration with Michael on weekdays at college campuses or for knock every door on a Sunday, but the what you've seen posted in Joanne and George's newsletter has been on Saturday. But starting October 1st and going through the election, we are going to be offering through mobilized signups, and this will be also in our newsletter, daily canvassing through the knock every door voter registration persuasion model, and Sunday canvassing, possibly with the coordinated campaign, possibly on our own. This will include when ballot curing, some on the ground ballot curing comes along that Melanie, the next speaker, will talk about very, very briefly. This group, there will be ballot curing available as well. Well, every day, that's a lot of canvassing, that's a lot of driving if we needed to do that. And so anybody is eligible to sign up for these on a daily basis, but there's also going to be a group of mainly 31st Street members and friends who are living in Camp Hill. We've rented a house. It holds 6 people, and we are going to be, starting October 1st, living there so that we can more easily spend a full day in fieldwork. If you're interested in learning more about coming and staying in that house because you want to spend a week or more doing daily field work, there is one place available for a person willing to stay a week, October 13th. And there are some more spaces available beginning October 27th. Otherwise, we have people there who are going to be staying and putting in many, many hours of field work because this is so important. So I'll put my email in the chat, and if you have any interest in this, I can send you some more information about this daily field work on weekdays and Sundays, as well as the staying in the Harrisburg area where Camp Hill is to be part of this for a big chunk of time. So Melanie.
Thanks, Julie. In addition to being a member of 31st Street, I'm also the Pennsylvania State Director for a voter protection organization called VoPro Pros. We focus primarily on making sure that Democratic votes can count. We do this year-round. So to prepare people for the next election so that they're ready to go. Our big effort this year is, of course, focused on this election, and it's ballot curing. We're going to be curing statewide, and in Pennsylvania, statewide means only those counties that actually provide information about their citizens that have not correctly completed their mail-in ballots. So that means we're only going to be curing in 42 counties. The other counties do not provide the information before Election Day, so we can't reach out to those voters. Our partner is doing Philly, so we're actually doing 41 counties. We have a 4-pronged approach to this ballot curing. We're going to be calling voters. We're going to be texting voters. We're going to be doing phone research to identify alternate phone numbers for folks that we either don't have phone numbers for or that we can't reach at the phone numbers that we've been giving. And then we're doing cure canvassing, which Julie referred to. And that's the portion of our program where we need the most volunteers. That's where we reach out on people's doorsteps to talk with them or to drop them literature, folks that we can't get a hold of by phone in order to help them cure their ballot. And there are approximately 30,000 ballots that we estimate we're going to be curing. These are of Democrats and left-leaning independents. And given the razor-thin margins anticipated in Pennsylvania, curing ballots is going to make a big difference. And it is the last line of defense we have to make sure that every Democratic vote in Pennsylvania can be turned out and make sure it counts. So we're going to be starting this cure canvassing around the middle of October and going through Election Day. It's important to note also that there are 5 counties in Pennsylvania. York is one of them that does not provide this information on which of their voters have errors on their ballots until election day. And so while we're going to be calling those voters, it may also be beneficial to have folks on the ground. So if anybody is interested at all, you can reach out to Michael and I'll make sure to get you a sign-up form. We'd love to have you. We will train you and make sure that you're ready to go and know how to explain to specific voters what they need to do in their specific county to cure. So thanks very much. Oh, and I need to turn it over to Joe Esposito, who's going to talk about phone banking.
Thank you, Melanie. We've been phone banking in Pennsylvania for over 2 months now. And since we're in the home stretch, we really need your help. This is something you can readily do from the comfort of your home if you have a spare hour or two, almost any day of the week. I've participated in all 3 phone banks that we're currently working with. And I can assure you that each one provides all the training that you will need, from how to use an auto dialer to the script we're using to dealing with particular situations. And the hosts for the phone bank remain available throughout the session if you have any questions or issues whatsoever. Currently, we have a phone bank on Wednesdays from 5 to 7 for Hadley Haas, a great candidate who is running for the State House in a highly flippable district in the western suburbs of Pittsburgh. It's a district that's simply too far away for 31st Street to do one-day canvassing. On Thursdays from 6 to 8 and Sundays from 4 to 6, we're phone banking for Janelle Stelson, who's running for Congress against Scott Perry of Freedom Caucus and January 6th infamy. And we're also supporting a voter protection phone bank that focuses on voter registration throughout Pennsylvania, are urging voters to get their mail-in ballots early enough to be counted. This focuses on people who didn't get their primary ballots in time, and encouraging younger voters who haven't voted in a prior presidential election to actually get out and vote. The next dates for this phone bank are Wednesday, September 25 from 6 to 8 and Saturday, September 28 from 1 to 3. I'm sure there will be more dates in October and we'll let you know if you're interested. Not only have we vetted these phone banks to ensure they're user-friendly for our volunteers, but we've selected them because they provide us with opportunities at 31st Street to make a difference in each of these races. Moreover, these phone banks are another way to help get Democrats to the polls. If we can get voters to vote for these candidates in November, we'll win all the way up the ballot in this crucial Keystone state. Finally, I'm not a clinical psychologist like Lisa Herrick, but I expect that many of you may suffer from something called PBP. Yes, PBP. That's phone bank phobia. I know a little something about phobias, and I can tell you that just as I have never once been crushed by an MRI, I have never had a single phone bank volunteer who was harmed by the experience. And I suspect that your and my fears about what we could wake up to on November 6th, if enough good women and men do nothing or not enough, far outweighs any fears you may have about making phone calls. So please sign up today for one or more of the phone banks using the links that Erin is putting into, has already done it, thank you, Erin, has put into the chat. And don't hesitate to email me at spo2020win@gmail.com. That's also in the chat. It's spo2020win@gmail.com. If you have any questions or you want somebody to talk you through this, all the nuts and bolts, or simply assure you, and unlike a clinical psychologist, I don't charge. So thanks so much. And now back to Jim Shelton.
Yeah, for some reason I get 2 speaking parts. And I don't have anything all that insightful to say about the state of the races. But I mean, obviously the the polling number for Harris is looking slightly good. Maybe she's up on average about 2 points, too close for comfort. And again, Trump is gunning for her. Casey is in good shape he's consistently in good shape in the Senate race. I will say that the two people that we are phoning for, both Hadley Haas and of course Janelle Stelson, they're in right smack in the ability to win. And Hadley Haas could make the difference of us holding the Pennsylvania House or not. And Janelle Stelson could be the difference between whether or not we take back the House or not. So we're doing the right thing. And with that, I will turn it over to Q&A. Over.
Okay, thanks everybody for being here. A lot of the questions that people put in the chat have already been answered. Logistical questions about like Sunday canvassing, for example, or you know, the outreach newsletter, which comes out in Sunday. And Brooks is asking, is all the sign up info also in your emails? So Brooks, if you are getting our Sunday emails, you are also getting the links to sign up for any of these types of initiatives that we've been talking about today. So you can just check that newsletter, get that information. One question that came up earlier is Pennsylvania integrating issues, questions, and talking points into the script. I guess Kamala has an issues page for the debate. I have seen talking points for phone bankers, but I'm concerned we are not using them on doors. So I don't know if Joanne or Jim, if you know the answer.
Yeah, I know Jim has been very interested in dealing with this in Virginia. Let me say, Jim, that basically we don't really pay attention to scripts as such. At least I don't, and we don't recommend for our, in lieu of that, we have this Thursday orientation when we talk to people about what kind of issues they will see at the doors. And you're quite right that there need to be somehow laid out for canvassers a set of the top of issues that they will see, that they'll encounter when they are at the doors. But basically, the campaigns are really not doing that. But I think that our approach really addresses that concern, if I understand it. Over.
Great. Okay. Let's see. One question in the chat. We don't know how to transfer these links from the chat to our computers. Can someone send them as part of an email message? This is from Robert Marcus and Ann Colston. So Robert and Ann, once again, if you can just go ahead and look at your Sunday outreach newsletter, which you will receive this evening, it will have links to sign up for all of these things that we have been talking about today. So that should give you all the information you need. Okay, let's see. Any other questions that people have? These are good questions. Let's see, what time are the Zoom canvassing meetings on Thursday? Those are usually always at 7 p.m., correct?
7 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
And we are welcome, Felice, because I know you're a good canvasser, because I know what you did for Vindman.
Do any of the accomplishments from the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, Infrastructure, CHIPS Act have sway with voters?
Well, I think they do, especially the issue about the reduction in insulin costs and other drug costs. That as that's eye-opening to a lot of people and important.
Okay.
Aaron, I had a question.
What is your
yeah,
question?
and it's perhaps it's wishful thinking. I'm on the receiving end, as I'm sure many people are, of getting involved in a number of groups who are focused on Pennsylvania. Several of them seem to be focused on the Harrisburg area, and I was wondering if there is a level of coordination that maybe is coming from the campaigns about numbers of people. You never can have enough, I suppose, but I just was wondering if there is some level of coordination going on with the different get out the vote folks that are focused on Pennsylvania.
So are you talking about the campaign side or on the canvasser side in terms of?
Well, I was just wondering if there's any coordination going on. I mean, I just got something from the Unitarian Church about getting up to Pennsylvania in that area. And there's just wondering if there's who's talking to whom, and it may not matter, but I'm curious.
Well, to some extent, they will tell each. So what we've got in the Harrisburg area is the coordinated campaign, which is basically the Harris campaign, the Stelson campaign.
Yeah.
And then there's a Patty Kim, who has a very active state Senate campaign, even though she's in a very blue area. And she's going to win, but she's canvassing very hard. So my sense is that they do talk to each other, like on a particular day, to say, oh, we're going to be here, or we're going to be here, or we're going to be here. But beyond that, I don't think there's a whole lot of a coordination in Harrisburg. There may be a little more in York because they're of the people involved.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what we deal with. This is sort of like pragmatically what we deal with.
Okay.
It'd be
And then
nice to see other people, I suppose, on those streets besides people maybe supporting the Republicans. So, okay, we'll just be friendly.
Yep. And just to make sure, if you are interested in Sunday canvassing, please speak to Julie. She can tell you more about it. And I believe, Julie, am I correct that those signups will be in future outreach newsletters? Is that correct?
They will be in Mobilize, and the Mobilize link for them will be in one of the Sunday newsletters that Joanne and George send out, and possibly like it's, Jim's got some information, we just have to get it finalized. So probably no later than next Sunday.
Okay.
And what we're gonna do is basically post weekdays and Sundays. Something's gonna be going on those days. If something is canceled because of weather, we anticipate signups will be pretty small, and we'll just get back to the people who have signed up. So if you sign up for a Sunday in late October and the weather turns out to be terrible and we're not going to do it, you can just plan that you will hear with details of what we're going to do, when we're going to launch, where the launch is going to be, or if it's canceled. So it's going to be, sort of all laid out, and then we will sort of deal with cancellations as they need. So long answer to, it will be usual procedure.
Got it. Okay. Here's a question that came in yesterday in York. Someone was knocking on some doors same time I was. Is it a problem, different groups canvassing on the same day? This has been, this is actually something that came up in an earlier iteration. Is anybody aware of multiple canvases on same day?
In terms of yesterday, we had this a couple of weeks ago. There definitely was an issue. In terms of yesterday, I've looked at all the comments that we got from canvassers, because after they finish, they can give nobody mentioned that they had overlap with another campaign. So maybe there was an instance where but it happens. When it happens, it's not uncommon that it still happens.
Jim, actually, I'm the one who did the post because I was canvassing, and I was the one who saw was in the burbs of York, and someone said someone was just here, and I saw the same material. So at that point I called the coordinated campaign and they just didn't know, but they gave me a new list. Fortunately, in the inner city where people are a lot more receptive, I said, emailed Julie that was my penalty for coming late and not attending the Thursday introduction. I deserved that because I didn't know that to request innocent ballots, but that's but I mean I was the one who experienced the duplication yesterday, which was readily resolved.
Good. Okay, any other questions before we close?
I just wanted to mention, I just put a couple things in the chat about benefits to Pennsylvania from the IRA and the Infrastructure Act and CHIPS. I mean, if people are interested in this, they probably don't, a lot of people don't realize all the stuff that was in those laws and a lot of them are things that are, the money's going out now and they're actually seeing things happening, right? But they may not realize where it's coming from. So
Great.
here are
Thank
all
you.
Pennsylvania projects.
Oh.
I have
Well,
a list of Maryland projects too. So stuff like that. I don't know if that's info is helpful at all.
It's
Is
in the
that
chat.
something you could share with?
It's in the
For
chat. So
sure.
people can just grab it from the chat.
Mhm.
Susan, if you want to put your email in the chat, people can contact you directly.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
you
And I'll
want
just,
people-
I'll
Yeah.
just send you this. I have these little cards you can cut out
Great.
with all the info. So I'll just send them over.
Yeah, Susan and Michael, maybe you want to get together. And,
Yeah, if you can send it or put your email in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please put your email in the chat. I'm trying to copy this. It's really hard to do on a phone.
Yeah. I have these little cards. I can send them over.
Okay. Susan, put your email in the chat.
Let's see.
Well,
All right, Michael, over to you.
yeah, that looks like a full set of opportunities. Thank everybody for coming. If you have further questions, you know to look for the newsletter coming out from Joanne and George weekly, or you can contact the people who spoke here. And I just hope that you all go forth and help elect Democrats in Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Yay. Have a good Sunday, everybody.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.